Hi, I'm Shuichi Murakami. Welcome to Designing Landscape Form series. In the previous episode, we explored ways of composing space so that changes in the landscape can be enjoyed through walking. Because the focus was on the experience while walking, the discussion was set in a rather abstract spatial context. In this episode, we move on to more concrete spatial elements and explore how they can be used to create landscape sequences. The element we will focus on is trees. Trees have appeared in several earlier episodes, but today's discussion builds in particular on the ideas from episode 6, composing spaces of columns and canopies with trees. If you are interested, you may find it helpful to watch episode 6 as well. Let us now look at the basic forms of landscape sequences created with trees one by one. We begin with a single tree. When a lone tree appears beside the path while walking, it naturally draws our gaze. We slow down, stop, and begin to move toward it. In this way, a single tree becomes a clear focal point within the sequence of movement, serving as a point of pause and a goal, in other words, a landmark. As we walk along the path, what happens when two trees appear side by side beside us? We sense them as marking an entrance to the next landscape. By standing in parallel, the two trees create a bodily guidance that tells us this is a way through. In this sense, the pair of trees becomes a gate. If more trees form a single row, how do we experience it? We may walk along the row, glimpsing the landscape beyond, or we may approach it from the front. Although the row appears to stand before us, it never fully closes off our view. As we pass through between the tree trunks, the scene changes. Here, the row of trees acts as a permeable screen. Now, let us imagine arranging the trees in two parallel rows. Of course, as before, we can also describe them as a screen where the view changes as we pass through the rows at a right angle. Yet above all, we are inclined to walk between the rows of trees. As we move forward, the tree trunks on both sides pass along the sides and slip behind us one after another. Through this repeated movement, a rhythm emerges. Here, the rows of trees form a corridor. Now, let us imagine that the trees are arranged in a square formation. We pass between the trunks and enter the space enclosed by the trees. Almost without realizing it, our walking pace slows, and we may even come to a stop. The inside and the outside are clearly distinguished. This is a room. We then pass once again between the trunks and leave the room. What happens when the trees are arranged in a grid? In the same way, we pass between the trunks and enter the cluster of trees. we find ourselves enveloped within a space composed of clouds and a canopy overhead, almost like a hole. As we move forward, the surrounding trunks shift in relation to one another, and even when we stop walking, the tree crowns continue to move in the wind. Within this interior, we constantly sense subtle presence. When we once again pass between the trunks and step outside, that presence may suddenly fade. Here, we present a garden of scene changes with trees, composed by combining these six fundamental spatial types. As you circulate along the path indicated by the arrows, imagine the sequence of experiences that unfolds. You may also come to realize that the in-between spaces, the between forms, have meaning of their own. Through today's learning, you may have sensed even greater possibilities for creating landscape sequences with trees. For example, by varying the spacing, density, regularity, or outline of tree arrangements, or by changing the size and the species of the trees, you can generate a wide range of scene changes based on these fundamental forms. Moreover, you yourself may invent forms beyond those introduced here. Using the landscape changes discussed in episode 10 as your guide, create your own landscape sequence. Over the past two episodes, we have explored the design of landscape sequences. Among the various types of scene changes, one involved a change in the slope of the ground we walk upon. One of the factors that shapes a walker's experience is whether the ground is flat or inclined, in other words, landform. In the next episode, we will learn about contour lines, the fundamental tool for understanding landform and treating it as a subject of design. See you in the next episode.